Show all your teeth, man. Oh, beautiful. Oh, we're gonna be really.
That just said that my teeth look good, so I'm proud to show those off.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna be really weird looking skeletons, I think. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Walter Conquering. Oh yeah, Matt, a Czar Ascending, and not only is the Czar Ascending, so will I to show you my recent $14.97 purchase on the WWE app. Woo! Look at that bad boy, huh?
Woo!
Yeah, a little Dragon Off action there, Matt. We're gonna have an American Dragon teasing. Oh, teasing dragons. Yeah. Jericho retiring. Maybe not. Who knows? Matt, we're talking Lesnar ponytailing his way into SummerSlam. Bianca. Matt, this is going to be a Bianca push snuffing episode. Boom! Hate that idea. Matt, as you know, you're one of the brothers. It's the Brothers of Discussion. We're going to talk that fallout of SummerSlam. Bid adieu to the black and gold brand. Say hello to the Technicolor Dreamcoat brand. Yeah! And man, we're going to give Phil Brooks a naughty bad boy spanking for trying to ruin the debut of more WWE alumni. How dare you, Phil? All that before we fall asleep here on the East Coast. Matt, it's been a spicy week of wrestling. A lot to cheer, a lot to boo, a lot to roll your eyes at because this is professional wrestling. And why would we be happy 100% of the time? Matt, how are things at the Casa de Teddy and Adieu?
It's doing good. First of all, Pluggo, what is going on, my man? It's been a while. Good to have you on.
Hey, what up?
At the Casa de Eddie y Teddy, apparently, Mike, we've had a break in our coil on our air conditioning unit. Our options were to recharge the unit, spend $3,000 on a new coil, or spend like upwards of $10,000 on a brand new system. So we went with recharging the unit, and I'm in a sweatshirt right now because for the first time since I've owned this house, my basement feels like a basement.
Wow.
Yeah. That's we're coming on 3 years of owning this house, and apparently we've really been spending a ton. DTE Energy made out like gangbusters on this house because we didn't realize how shitty our air conditioning was. But it's fixed now, so everything's all good. As Pluggo threw out there, what a time to be a fan. I'm just through the roof right now, which would be the last thing I really want because the air conditioning's finally running. I've got wrestling going at 100% right now. I've got my air conditioning going at 100% right now. I couldn't ask for more, especially on today and this weekend. It's going to be 90 fucking degrees in Michigan as we wrap up August. So it's good timing.
Yeah, we're going to be laboring before Labor Day here, Matt. Matt, where can all the beautiful people find us here before we dive into the topics?
You know what? I had a great transition plan too. I was going to say, you know who had bad timing? CM Punk. But yeah, before we talk about his bad timing, find us at brothersofdiscussion.com and bodpodcast.com. You can find the shop button if you guys want to support us right on that homepage. Click there. We have our hot tag series if you guys want to check that out. We also just have ways to support the Brothers of Discussion, which would be your mugs, your masks, your shirts, your sweatshirts. It's all there. If you guys want something new, if there's something we say all the time in the show, let us know because I'm happy to build some more merch for everybody. We've got our Sister of Discussion t-shirts in there as well. So go check that all out. We're just rolling along here. We had our biggest YouTube episode last week. We're happy to have you guys join along. I think it probably helped that we focused on CM Punk, and that's all anybody wanted to talk about. Performance art. Hola, how are you doing? So, Mike, how about enough of me jibber-jabbering? So that's bodpodcast.com, brothersdiscussion.com, yada, yada, yada. Why don't we talk CM Punk again? What? We're letting the cat out of the bag, right?
Yeah, the way AEW treats the television broadcast. It's it started reminding me a little bit of Paranormal Activity, where I'm searching every inch of the screen to see who's going to be showing up next based on some clothing clues in the background. So we used to have Kenny Omega coming out with Chick Magnet t-shirts, the allusion to CM, Chick Magnet, Punk. And now Punk's out there with little ACs and B-dubs on his little shoesies there. And, they can only mean two people, Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, I guess. I don't know.
Definitely Bryan Danielson. As we all know, it's his real name. I was actually
we're not gonna put Windham Rotunda on there. We're not doing a little WR.
Yeah, as I pull this up here, I thought that was weird myself. But yeah, we're talking about the B-dubs. I could just be a huge fan of Buffalo Wild Wings. I've always called it B-dubs, Mike. That's it right there. And we've also got the AC. Again, could just be a hint that I needed to check my AC unit. I mean, we can't only land on two options here. That it's Adam Cole and Bray Wyatt. I would have gone with Windham Rotunda because I feel like that would have been like if he's trying to be subtle, right, and put it at the bottom of his shoes. And I'm not trying to make the point that it's absolutely not Bray Wyatt, but I mean, come on, if he's trying to be cute, right? And throw it out there like that. Why not do Windham? Why do Bray Wyatt?
I think the best pages of Where's Waldo books were when the good stuff was in the middle. If you put it in the corner, it's really easy for me to find. So I think they should have maybe forced Punk to get a new Where's Waldo tattoo. And you got to figure out which WWE superstar is coming over next based on a chest tattoo on Punk.
We also wore that. We didn't get to see it because I think this was where these pictures were taken were after Rampage was done filming. And Pluggo, of course, throwing out there Austin Cold. I mean, dunking on that one. He had oh my god, now I can't remember the band's name, but he had a band reference Fiend T-shirt. It was like maybe the fans of this band. God damn it! It's that stupid band that everybody had a T-shirt of in high school, and I'm talking me graduating 2006. Mike, you're 2005, so everybody had. Was it the Misfits?
Right? Oh, Misfits T-shirt.
Yeah, everybody had the Misfits.
I thought you were going to say
nobody
Limp
listened
Bizkit.
to that band.
We all have our chocolate starfish T-shirts going on. In the hot dog flavored water. Blah! He's making a comeback. So yeah, man, I guess I don't know if there's really that much to dissect on this topic. It's just I really get a kick out of AEW rewarding dedicated viewers who are looking for hints about what's to come in the future. But I guess some people are, I don't know, filling their pampers. Not a big fan of the reveal of the spoiler, but I mean, it's 2021. I mean, we're all glued to the apps that are essentially live dirt sheets anytime there's just a vague mouse fart about who's coming over to AEW. So I don't know. I think
I would say the only question to ask, and we can treat this as why don't we brand it out, right? Let's Mike, let's do a hot tag question.
Yeah.
When Punk says we have to be a bit more patient, what are you thinking off the top of your head? What's a bit more patient? Are we talking just a week here for All Out, or are we talking a few months here till we get to Full Gear? Or are you throwing it somewhere in the middle?
God
damn it, Pluggo. No. Apollo Crews, for anybody who's not watching on YouTube, is now Pluggo. Pluggo's still working. I like the idea that Pluggo, you're just on Google right now searching pro wrestler. You have pro wrestler, and then you're putting in A and letting Google
just waiting for the autofill to come in. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Ashley Charlotte Flair. You know, Charlotte Flair WWE entity, but maybe Ashley Charlotte. I like that. Matt, if you want me to pick a number, I'm going to give you the day. I'm going to give you the Dynamite after All Out because It's in Chicago. We're going to be CM Punk'd all night. I don't think we're going to have the energy to also Bryan Danielson mark out all night. So I'm going to go the next Dynamite there. How about that? Have we looked at the schedule? Is there an Aberdeen, Washington show coming up for the AEW tour?
What I do want to check one quick thing here because I'm doing the math. Yes. How about we go? Because you said you were going to pick a number randomly, I thought you were going to pick one randomly, and I thought you were going to say 69, because 69 days out would be a week before Full Gear. So I'm gonna throw that out there. That's where I thought you were going, and I had that thought that you were going to say that, and I was like, wait a minute, 69 days. You
do know your yeah, you do know your demo, Matt. That's something I would probably say. So yeah, I guess I would give it that long. I think we're gonna be able to have a moment with Punk before we already start debuting other people.
Greg's on board with the 69. So that I do want to throw out there. I do think it's more likely that he's mixed in with Full Gear. I just and I know this isn't something we want to get too deep into, but the word usage, the patient, a bit more patient. I don't see that being like a week. I feel like he said that he knows what's going on, and I mean you've got to have the fallout with the fallout from All Out and all whatever. It's not funny. You gotta have the fallout from that, and I think there's probably still a few more names that want to attach themselves to Punk. And I wanted to bring this up too because what are we doing? We're doing Pac versus Andrade, and I gotta be honest, for All Out, and I was just kind of like, oh my god, I completely forgot that's happening. I completely forgot about Andrade's pay-per-view match at AEW because clearly there's one thing on my mind, and it's I have some of my favorite hockey podcasts that I listen to week after week. They spent on their hour-and-a-half episode, spent 45 minutes talking about CM Punk. So, I mean, this is huge. This is huge for pro wrestling. If anybody, gets angry that, our show, other shows are focusing too much on CM Punk, this really is like one of the biggest things to happen in pro wrestling in a very long time. So
I'm very excited to talk CM Punk on our hockey podcast. So I'm really looking forward to this Sunday.
But I guess to kind of finish that point, I think we got to let us absorb all the Punk we can before we throw in a Daniel Bryan. I know it could be something where it's like, we had the Milwaukee Bucks on AEW Rampage, and sometimes you do want to do three-pointer after three-pointer in the NBA because you got to put the dagger in. You got to end the game. So maybe it really is just like we're going to go 2 straight months here. We're going to introduce CM Punk, and then we're going to bring back Daniel Bryan Danielson, come back as more of the indie-style wrestler that he was. And really just blow the roof off again and really just own pro wrestling and all the narratives. And I mean, there is that option, but I still feel like the better option is, this is me learning from you when you were talking about Big E having only one moment per night because we got to space him out. Save Daniel Bryan for later in the fall, possibly 2022.
I don't know if it's going to be that long, if only because, I think we have an understanding of how much Bryan Danielson, I got to get used to that. Bryan Danielson loves his business. But there's just so much we could do in the meantime. I think Windham, people are dying to get that guy right now. He's still got all his heat as the Fiend. Adam Cole, joining the Elite in some capacity. That'd be really exciting stuff. Not to mention all the people who are currently employed by All Elite Wrestling that we want to see more of. Looking at you, Andrade. We haven't seen a match from him really under the AEW umbrella, and we're already fantasy booking guys who are potential signees. So I'm ready to sit down and watch a little Andrade and Pac before looking ahead to Bryan Danielson. I'm okay with where I'm at right now. I can save a few more surprises for my future here.
And we've got Pluggo reminding us too. Ruby's on her way. Mike, I got one more hot tag question that's revolving around this topic. So I'm sorry, you said there wasn't too much to talk about. I can't get away from it, but one more hot tag. Mike, is the brand of Bryan Danielson so big that he's going to come back in some form or fashion of that Bryan Danielson name, or focusing on the Daniel Bryan part of it? Is that so big that they don't want to waste it? Or is he going to come back as the American Dragon?
Do you mean, is he going to wrestle as Daniel Bryan?
No, I'm asking pretty much Bryan Danielson or American Dragon. I'm asking, is that brand too big for them to pass on?
I think he's so big it won't matter.
You think?
The one thing I'm kind of interested in is the one thing I'm kind of interested to see is when he does show up, is whether or not he's going to come out to his indie music when he came out to the Final Countdown by Europe, or if Tony Khan's going to shell out for his own Ride of the Valkyries. That's what I'm more eager to kind of.
He could do a classic version of it because it should be public domain at this point, right? Ride of the Valkyries.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it won't have that rock one that WWE remastered, but yeah, he can absolutely get that for real.
And Pluggo's on board. I think Pluggo's also on board if we move on as well. Mike, which do you want to jump into some more AEW news? Oh, you know what? Can we talk about this? I want to talk about the distinction between AEW talking about WWE when I make that comment. We've talked before on the show about AEW as a whole focusing on WWE and what they're doing, and then CM Punk talking about WWE in his journey back to pro wrestling.
Are you looking at Booker T on this one?
That's probably where it started. And then there's all the, we've asked people all the time not to be like focus on the wrestlers, try not to focus so much on the brand, and then, watch your wrestling that way, then just, absorb it, enjoy it. We're going to get into that later, actually, when it comes to NXT and Walter. But I guess it really is just getting so frustrating because this is something where Twitter just gets so angry about CM Punk talking about. For me, it's different because this is his life, this is his journey, and we talked before that there was a great possibility that his story was going to revolve around that for quite a while, besides getting into the ring with Darby Allin. But right there is the problem with some people is that they want him to focus on only Darby Allin, and they don't want him to bring up WWE, despite it being a huge part of this 7-year hiatus. The health issues for both mind and body, and it really is like it. This is something that is CM Punk. That's what, if we're going to use the word brand like we did with Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson, that is the brand of CM Punk, and we all know that was a hard relationship. It was probably tough for him to come back to that WWE backstage show, and yeah, I mean, he's back in the ring now, even making the comments and letting us know how tough it was. So I guess I wanted to get your opinion on it, Mike, because you haven't been as hard on AEW as I have, where I've made the comment, Verizon doesn't bring up other brands. Verizon just is Verizon, and then they're successful. But I think this is way different when you're talking about the journey of a human being, and we've stepped so far away from kayfabe that you can't just eliminate that conversation from CM Punk's journey. So that's where I stand now, but I wanted to get your thoughts.
I don't think it would be so. Like Booker T came out and said, Punk came back, had 10 minutes of TV time to make his point. Had the perfect crowd.
Quacky duck moment on his podcast.
Yeah, it was Quacky, duck, duck. Punk had the perfect crowd to be able to go out there. And really, I'm talking about have a party up in the United Center. But Punk came back, took his moment, chose to talk about WWE. There was just a total miss as far as I'm concerned. I guess my beef with that is I do not agree. I don't think he dedicated quite as much about just throwing shade at WWE, but more like his, like you said, his journey from leaving professional wrestling entirely for 7 going on 8 years, and then finally coming back. And there was a real just detachment. It broke him. He couldn't harp on that enough that it hurt him physically, spiritually, and emotionally being in WWE. So for the man to like crack like that, to totally disassociate himself from wrestling, not go to another company, disassociate himself from something he formerly used to define his very being as a human on Earth. I think maybe Book is taking it kind of in the scope that a lot of AEW guys after they've left WWE have come over, and their first promos have been like, we're gonna grab my own brass ring over here. And so maybe it's just because, he's had a few iterations of that promo. But, I mean, Punk was the original voice of the voiceless. He, and he did say this past Wednesday with Shivani that he's going to have to retire the voice of the voiceless because he knows Tony Khan is in the back actually listening to the crowd and giving them what they want. So, no, I don't think Punk's first promo was that off base, because I think we did kind of want an answer. We didn't just want to celebrate. It had been 7 years. Like, you saw that guy crying in the crowd, that infamous guy. And it's a real relationship that we had with Punk, because he was such a symbolic, manifestation of our frustrations with a company that we've all put our time and money into and not felt like we've been rewarded for that. And Punk, whenever people cheered for him, they liked him, but they also liked what he stood for, that voice of the voiceless, that cult of personality. And I don't think that his promo, his first one back, could have not mentioned WWE. I don't think it would have. I don't think it'll like stand the test of time if it was just out there to be a party, because we needed to hear some sort of explanation. Where have you been, man? You could hear us for years. Like, we love you. We love what you represent. We think AEW is a perfect podium for you to do that. And I think he mentioned WWE and his experience there just enough, while also still making time to, call out the Darby Allins and the Jungle Boys and, Chicago and ice cream bars and, still making time to jump in the crowd and stuff like that. It was still a party, but I think the crowd, he was giving them what they wanted, and they wanted an explanation from one of their heroes, and it wasn't a full 20-minute shade of WWE. So I don't think I don't think he's right on this one. I'm not on his side on this take. I think we deserved it, and I think we got just enough, even with the dilution of that, I'm finally free of the WWE shackles promos that we've been hearing over the past couple of years, and Cody breaking the Triple H throne. All that stuff was still out there, but Punk's take on it was still fresh because we know what an impact it had on him. So I don't have a problem with what Punk said, and I've watched that promo like 7 or 8 times in its 20-minute duration. And Book, not one of my quacky duck moments for his commentary career.
And I've been bringing up the Verizon comparison for quite a while, but Pluggo coming in to squash that, bringing up that Verizon stole Sprint Sky and has been using that shtick. So I guess I'm gonna have to figure out another company that's number one that doesn't bring up their competitors. Mike, I made let's see if this gets removed from YouTube. But what's funny is I thought this is going to go on for a while is that we're going to have CM Punk segments. So I did actually create a CM Punk intro, and I'm hoping because it's less than 2 seconds that it doesn't get removed from
it. Better be a second and a half.
Why this here? This will wrap up our CM Punk segment, and we'll move on to the next segment after this. That's it. So we're gonna get sued
our whole
by
account's getting taken
Living
down.
Color, AEW, CM Punk's coming after us.
Phil Brooks, his wife April, they're all coming for us, man.
Now MJF is coming for Chris Jericho, Mike. He could be coming for it all, and I think this is good timing because, like I mentioned earlier, and just to kind of put it, we'll finish. Maybe I should say what MJF is coming for. Jericho's putting his career on the line in his next match at All Out with MJF. But it could be good timing because I mentioned earlier in the show, I forgot that Andrade has a fucking match at All Out. I was listening to them on AEW Rampage go through the match card, and I went, fuck. Yeah, it's probably time to eliminate some of these guys. And if there's anybody that is the perfect name to give a break to, I don't think Jericho would go away forever. But to me, it's certainly Chris Jericho.
I gotta say, I will be really disappointed if he wins that match. I don't think that he should ever get a win over MJF. Ever. I think that what we wanted to do with Fandango, but he didn't really deserve it, not in the vein that MJF does. Because of the guy just oozes like black venom symbiotic charisma with his slimy vitriol always seeping out of his pores. I don't think he should ever lose to Chris Jericho. I love that this is one man that Jericho just can't beat. And with all this extra talent coming over, I don't know how we're going to have time for these Christian Cage segments, Andrade segments, Bryan Danielson segments, CM Punk segments, Ruby Soho segments. It's okay. And I'm okay to actually hear Chris on Friday nights because people give him a lot of grief on social media about screaming into the microphone. But you know what? I'll take that over Mark Henry. Oh, hey, do you think that Christian Cage, hi, it's me, Mark Henry. Are you worried about getting injured in this match against Kenny Omega? And even Cage, he's like, what? What question are you asking me right now? This is a hot mic, man. We're live. What are you doing? I would love to see Jericho in that role, which, he's vastly overqualified for that, but he's good at getting people over. He's good at being charismatic, enthusiastic. I would prefer him to see him in that commentary role than Mark for right now. Maybe send him to AEW Dark Developmental, kind of figure it out a little bit, kind of do some easy interviews and then work his way up to talking to Kenny Omega and Don Callis, who Don Callis also did a double take when Mark asked the exact same question. Oh, Kenny, are you scared about getting an injury fighting Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian? And Omega immediately turned that, hey, Don, you got this one? And Don's like, not really, Kenny. I really hope this is the end of Jericho's wrestling career, just for the immediate future. We're fan. I loved when he did that lion salt during the trials of Jericho. I forgot what they called that. We got so many guys coming in. It's going to be fine. Let the Jerichos and the Codys, kind of take a back seat, do some more producing. And I think the television program's going to be fine. Those two guys were just in there to prop up new guys anyway. That was the whole point of Jericho doing the Inner Circle, getting Sammy Guevara over, trying to get Santana and Ortiz over, trying as goddamn hard as he could to get Jack Hager over. Only so much can be done, that was their job, and I think they did a really good job of it. Cody helped get that TNT championship over. It helped get Darby over. Now it's getting Miro over, and they served their purpose, and now they can kind of back up. And I think everybody's better for it. So please Don't let Jericho even the win-loss record against MJF, please. Matt, are you echoing that sentiment?
Like I said at the beginning, I really and I guess I'm looking at it from the perspective of giving this roster some more space. I mean, let Tony Khan continue to blow the horn that I haven't released anybody by having Chris Jericho step out of the spotlight for a little bit. And you do that by giving some of these other guys some spotlight time, give them some more time, with your two different shows now on TNT/TBS. So, yeah, I'm all about it.
Matt, that brings us to our wrestling question of the week. Are you buckled in?
Oh, crap. I was all ready to get our next segment ready, but I guess what will be our next segment. Go ahead. Go.
Matt, it's less a question and more a challenge for you. I hope you're buckled in. The two of us love Eddie Kingston. What a Hall of Fame voice on the microphone. He's got the persona, right? Hell of an entrance with that music. But my God, when that man wrestles in that ridiculous singlet, I can't take him seriously. So, Matt, challenge of the week this week. I need you to redesign Eddie Kingston's wrestling ring attire. What do you got for us?
I mean, I guess I was kind of my brain goes to early 90s WWE, and you have like the Goon coming out in full hockey gear.
Interesting start.
So there's two things that came to mind. Yeah. One of them absolutely can't work because I always think of the cookie promo that he did. And you guys can look up Eddie Kingston cookie promo on YouTube and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I couldn't quite put my finger on a way to make that work, like cover him in cookie dough and have him go out and that. Because it'd be pretty flexible. It'd be like going out there in jeggings. But I've decided that I want him to come out dressed. And again, going back to the early 90s WWE, I want him to be like a pizza guy. I want him to come out with your pizza peel, and I want him to have like a greasy white shirt and like an apron, like a greasy white tank top, and have maybe a chef's hat, but I'm picturing like a red ones, maybe a red apron with the red hat would look pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just picking.
Is this his WWE pitch?
Yeah, that's exactly what
Kevin Dunn. This is Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard throwing that at him.
Because I can't imagine any other way that you would dress the man besides just telling him, like, hey, look at Moxley. Just come out and, pretend you just worked on your motorcycle and some guy pushed it over and now you're going to beat the shit out of him. Like, those are your two options. Pizza guy or pushed over your motorcycle.
Man, you couldn't have echoed, emulated the brain of Kevin Dunn more accurately than that. I like it. What I was going to do, Matt, hey, Benjamin, how you doing, man?
Yeah,
glad you're staying up late with us here on the East Coast. But yeah, if you're going to redo Eddie Kingston's gear, I don't know why we don't just go away from one of his idols in DMX. Let the man wrestle in some Timberlands, man. Let's get him in a DMX tank top. Like when he came out to beat up Miro.
Yeah.
I would just let him wrestle. It worked for Cena. It worked for our boy Moxley. He used to come out in the jean jeggings. Get Eddie some jean jeggings. Get him a Tupac. Get him a series of sleeveless Tupac tanks. And Matt, I think the Timberlands are a requirement at this point. I don't need to see Eddie in real wrestling gear. He's just a real fighter. So I would just make him maybe adopt that look a little bit. I think it would really work.
What's funny is I saw that today and I saw your question and I thought to myself, why not that? But I also wanted to stay away from it in case there had been matches that I'd missed in my time away from AEW that he was wearing it. So I just didn't want to look like a silly goose. So I kept that off. I kept that as far away as possible. So instead of sounding like a silly goose, I said I wanted to wrap him in cookie dough and make him look like a pizza peeler. Anyway.
I dig it. I dig it.
I think that was your last AEW point of the week. Mike, you were super stoked. I picked out a picture. I picked out a Twitter post so we don't get in too much trouble. My mouse just died. Yep. All right.
Yeah, friend of the show. Friend of the show. Matt, he's retweeted us and favorited us innumerable times. So many times.
Clearly best friends of the show.
Best friends of the show. Matt, we've championed this guy for 2 years when he air guitared his way into our hearts. Little did we know he could actually play guitar. And now Rick motherfucking Boogs is 2-0 in his young SmackDown career with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Did anybody need a reminder of how he looked back in his NXT days?
I mean, I don't think anyone would complain for more photos of Rick Boogs, but...
From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, weighing in at 240 pounds, Eric Bugenhagen.
Matt, wrestling challenge of the week, number 2 here. What is the ceiling for Rick Boogs? And I'm saying that, listen, for us, we would obviously crown him as dueling heavyweight and WWE and Universal champion all at once. But, Matt, realistically, he's getting a pretty good reaction. Pretty good.
Is it mean for me to say I feel like he's already, like he's crowning?
Don't
like
you do it. Don't you? No. No, he's on his floor right now, Matt. How dare you?
Crowning made it more disgusting, but less mean, distract you from the mean, make it gross. I would have never guessed that he would have been in this position, winning matches with Nakamura. Mike, that would be my dream come true in life.
Yeah, it feels like something we fantasy booked. All right. Okay, so we know he can air guitar. What if he could actually play guitar? Wouldn't that be a gas? Okay. And not only does he wrestle, he wrestles with Nakamura. Like, okay, yeah, but is he actually going to win? Yeah. And he wins 2 matches on his own, kind of, with this weird air guitar pump handle slam. Man, I don't know if you and I could have fantasy booked the start to his young career here any better. And I'm really glad that the crowd is screaming along with him. I'm very happy for the Boogs.
Yeah,
he might actually get a pay-per-view match here shortly.
I know that we're the happiest, including Pluggo. He's always reminding us too when Boogs is out there. I know
Pluggo was there. Yeah, he was there with us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Watch. Yeah.
I know we're the 3 happiest people right now in regards to what's going on with his career. But it just feels like every moment now I'm holding my breath. I mean, think about how many people get released from this company. I can't imagine, like, if he hits the wrong chord, I feel like that's the kind of thing that's going to have to drop and or may drop, and then he'd be dropping as well. So I'm holding my breath at every turn with this run for Boogs. And you got to hope that Nakamura doesn't go down anytime soon either, because I feel like Boogs will be shortly after.
Man, I got a hot take for you.
Crap. You got to send me something in the chat so I know, right. Especially now that my damn mouse just died on me and I'm not good with the little square pad. Go for it.
I want you to fantasy book Rick Boogs playing guitar for one WWE legend at this year's WrestleMania.
I mean, the easy one is Bret Hart, right? Like, you want him to come out and hit that first.
Oh, but what if Natty walks out?
Oh, come on. No, you said a legend, so I picked Bret Hart. I'm not. You can't go. That was close, Matt, but Natty walked out instead, so you fucked it up. I'm sorry. Your fancy booking, it didn't work. Here comes Natty. All right. Who's your pick?
Matt, if you want to get over in this company, there's only one ass you got to kiss, and it's the perfect golden ass of Paul Levesque. Matt, if he plays a little Triple H, time to play the game, a little metal, woo! He's going to be over like Rover, let me tell you.
Do you remember? I mean, of course you remember, but the New Day used
I will
to
never
come
forget. No.
playing the trombone like mid promo, and getting the crowd amped. This takes a little bit more production work because you want to shut down the guitar between, promos. Like you don't want to have a live guitar while somebody's holding a microphone right next to it and all that jazz. But do you think there's a space in the future where Boogs is just trying to get on everybody's good side by playing their entrance music mid promo? Is he ever going to have? Let's just cover that. Is he ever going to have that mic time besides introducing himself and Nakamura and playing his nuts off? Is he ever going to have the mic time to be able to put together and produce a segment like that?
I don't think you and I realized, much like Michael Scott, how high he can fly. Because when he was air guitaring on NXT, rest in peace, Black and Gold brand, I don't think we realized that he could actually shred Metallica style on the guitar. Yeah. So knowing that he could do that, that must be why WWE kept him off TV for 2 years to kind of figure out a way to package this dude. So I'm honestly, I won't be surprised what lengths they'll go to get this guy more TV time, because they definitely know their demo. Putting Boogs with Shinsuke Nakamura. Honky Tonk Man for Pluggo, so Boogs could show him what real shredding is. Yeah. They also, looks like they're taking Elias's guitar away, because that would be a pretty embarrassing shred off there.
Yeah, if they did that, I mean, there's that segment is coming, right? Of Honky Tonk Man, Boogs, and probably throw in Double J once he's feeling a little more strapped.
Well, I know that Xavier's teaching himself the bass guitar, so I think that would also be a way to get him in there. A little King of the Ring guitar tournament there. But
is it bad if I look at those four and I already think clearly Xavier is the king of promos among those four guys, but Boogs is already number 2 on my list? Is that bad? Throwing Honky Tonk Man and Jeff Jarrett. They can fight for spots 3 and 4. I'm good. Yeah. All right. So many people unsubscribe. All right. What else we got, Mike? I think we're gonna have to skip the Festival of Friendship because we've still got to talk Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch coming back. Mike, they created 2 more moments at SummerSlam. Did they create good stories, or did they just create 2 moments to get us talking?
Matt, I've been fascinated by the dirt sheet on this Brock Lesnar appearance. Allegedly, people didn't know Brock was going to be there until he was in Gorilla.
Now, when you say
allegedly,
people, you mean me and you, right?
No, I mean people that work backstage. And allegedly, if you watch it again, when Brock's music hits, Roman has genuine surprise on his face. So if you want to give this story any credence, I guess I would watch Roman and see how do you feel about his acting ability. Because I guess I didn't know that Brock was actually going to be there.
Did you see the Ryan Satin video online where he's wrapping up the show? So he's like, all right, we had just had a great SummerSlam. You can hear Roman Reigns wrap it up after he just took down John Cena. It was great fun. And then you hear, wow, wow, wow. Oh, should Boogs do that? All right, anyway, let's focus.
Yeah.
And, they're selling that he had no idea. Oh, my God.
Looks like we're going to listen to Matt without seeing him.
Can you hear me?
I would say that we would prefer to see Matt and not hear him. So hopefully we can just see his pretty face and hear less of his rants on Dolph Ziggler being world champion again. Matt, can we hear you there? What's going on over there? It looks like we lost Matt. But Yeah, so in this story is that Lesnar just showed up, much to the surprise of much of the talent, including Roman Reigns, actually in the ring. And I guess for me, this is a better attempt for WWE to try and rescue the whole CM Punk situation than that misconstrued, misguided, force-fed return of Becky Lynch against Bianca Belair. So, man, just talking about, it looks like the Brock segment for me and much of the audience, that worked a lot more than whatever the hell they thought they were doing with Becky. Even if in the aftermath they're saying, "Oh, well, Becky's she's a heel now. Yeah, she's bad." And it's like, well, she didn't quite celebrate like a heel. She celebrated like a baby face, kissing babies after she won her title. High-fiving people. Big toothy grin on her face. Not a mean mug for the camera to show what a bad girl she is now. And I don't know. I think they're just trying to, save the egg on their face when they deflated 60,000 people.
Well, I posted on Twitter, and I'll come back to my other point if I remember with Ryan Satin, but watching the opening segment on SmackDown today, if you didn't watch that and think to yourself, "Wow, they totally had nothing planned for this." Which kind of makes sense because really they were still thinking. I mean, they're putting out the video for Sasha, so they didn't really have much planned for that night. So why would they have a full storyline planned out? But it is totally like a knee jerk reaction. I think a combo of Punk, and they couldn't have this deflating, like, oh, here comes Carmella to lose to Bianca after CM Punk was just on AEW Rampage. So the problem, though, and I hope people know that that's what happened, and they can accept that. But the problem with that is that you had a terrible end to Bianca's run, and then you mixed it with this clunky start to SmackDown, where I think we all agreed, like, SmackDown has been doing, it's an amazing television show. They do a wonderful job of highlighting good pro wrestlers, having great promos and great storylines, especially, with the Bloodline leading the way. This is not a great story. So far, where everybody said, "Hey, you can't be mad about the Bianca thing. You got to let it play out." All right. Well, we're through a couple of segments, and despite Bianca winning the match, that was some weak ass shit to start SmackDown, or the best, what's supposed to be the best WWE programming that WWE has to offer. So, yeah, pretty much a failure at SummerSlam and a failure to start SmackDown, and I can attribute it all going back to probably some circumstances being out of their hands. We don't know what the hell's going on with Sasha Banks, but clearly trying to create one big moment was their priority over doing something that makes sense. So that's where you fail.
Yeah, I mean, Bianca, she won the Royal Rumble. She had a WrestleMania moment. She won in feuds against, Bayley and Sasha. And I know that the worst thing that wrestling fans can do is, have that knee-jerk reaction. But it's like we had this built-in, like, idea of who and what Bianca is, and she'd earned it. Like, she performed really well for, going on 8 months now. And she's the face of the brand. And for her to get snuffed out like that in 26 seconds to a Becky Lynch rock bottom, what I forgot what they called it, the man slam, the manhandle slam, something like that. It's for all that effort that Bianca did for carrying that division for 8 months. It's just disrespectful. It also questions our intelligence, as if we just want to see Bianca and again, our beef with WWE is just we put in that time and finance into supporting somebody like Bianca, and just to see it immediately snuffed out because Becky Lynch is back and you want to have a moment and you're looking over at what's going on Friday nights, and a 40-year-old CM Punk is making you nervous, and I just. There's a million better ways to do that and still include Becky in some way and still set up a future where Becky and Bianca go at it without having to sacrifice everything Bianca's built in a 26-second rock bottom squash. Nobody understood, nobody was cheering, and it had nothing to do with the person or the character that they chose to do it with. It had 100% everything to do with the story.
Yeah.
Is it one of those blanket statements where it's like, WWE creative doesn't know what they're doing? No, they figured out, Matt Riddle, and they figured out Randy Orton. You mentioned the Bloodline, another good story. People are growing with Nakamura and Boogs. They like Baron Corbin, but man, they really laid a couple of turds with that women's division. I don't think anybody was excited for Charlotte to win again. But Rhea has been abused, in her credibility for so long now. It's like, I don't see her winning, and I don't see her winning a feud against Charlotte anytime soon. And then the person that we thought we were going to invest in, somebody outside that 4 horsewomen, finally snuffed in 26 seconds. So it's kind of like, I guess, same old with the women's division. If you're not in the 4 horsewomen, I don't see a pattern of winning in your future. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like it comes back to my instinct when I'm talking about Daniel Bryan was to bring up the brand of Daniel Bryan and how that's going to affect Bryan Danielson coming into AEW. The brand of Becky Lynch is so strong that they let that run the decision making, besides trying to do something that, I don't know, a department with the name creative in it would do something creative. You mentioned there's so many different ways to do this. I thought the easiest way, and I can't believe I actually got pushback for this on Twitter, but just have Bianca win. Becky's been out of the ring for how long? Have her come back and have a whole another storyline in the fucking division that you tout as the best women's division in professional wrestling. Let's have another storyline, an interesting one of Becky Lynch trying to climb the ladder. And instead it was just, nope, give her the title. She's the biggest name right now. And that's all that matters. Cool. Yes, that was creative. Nice job. So, that's the easiest pick right there. Just figure it out that way and then go from there with Becky Lynch either fighting Bianca or fighting the rest of this division, because all I saw on SmackDown was Becky said no to fighting any one of the women that were in the ring to start that segment, and really to your point that if you're not one of the 4 horsewomen, good luck trying to get over. They also told you that in their creative. You don't have to care about these 4 because Becky Lynch doesn't. And I know that's something too where you want them to prevail. But who has a really good feeling that Bianca Belair, besides putting in a really great match in round 2, is going to prevail in however long this feud goes? Because I don't have a ton of confidence in that. So if you do, good for you. If you're waiting for it to play out and you're one of the people who said wait for it to play out, and ultimately you're going to be happy with Bianca coming out with a really hearty effort and she's so close, and then you go, well, it's Becky Lynch. All right, man, so what do we do?
Let's do this because the return of Becky Lynch should not be something where we're hanging our heads. So we'll have to give that some time for them to reestablish Bianca. Let's talk about something that was fantastic, and it was maybe the final NXT takeover. Maybe, I don't know. And some of the greatest matches ever. Matt, I have one more wrestling question of the week for you. So I already made you, look into Eddie Kingston's wrestling gear. But Matt, I want you to do something right now that's going to be a little more controversial. All right, Walter versus Dragunov Part 2. Mm-hmm. I want to see how many better matches you can name than that one, because
for fuck's sake, it's midnight. Oh my god,
Matt, that's okay. Just off the top of your head, because that was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life, and I was totally captivated. And I think I could get anybody who's never really watched wrestling before to sit down and watch these two destroy the capillaries in the respective chests for victory. Matt, do you rank this as one of the best matches you've ever seen in your life?
I mean, absolutely, I did. And when I said earlier in the show, I wanted to bring up that match in regards to focusing on the wrestlers that are really, making me happy. I actually spent that night. So this is Sunday night. And that's usually, my wife and I like to have time to hang out, watch TV, play video games together before I babysit for the upcoming week and she goes back to work. But I made sure that the two of us were watching Dragunov and Walter on my giant, it couldn't be on my phone. It wasn't going to be on my laptop. I was actually watching it on the TV. And everything else to me, I was just kind of like, that's fine. I can watch it on my phone. I'm cool. And then my wife goes, no, seriously, you watch it on TV? And I go, no, fuck. No, I'm good. Just Walter Dragunov, and that's it. I mean, that's how I felt before the match even started. And I think it's because we all fell in love with, Walter Dragunov won. But, fuck. Like, Dragunov might be... He's highly rated right now, and he still might be the most underrated professional wrestler in all of professional wrestling right now. He's that damn good. Like, and Walter too. You can't take anything away from a guy who has great matches with the likes of Dragunov and Tyler Bate, who are half his size, and he can still manage to get up there, get off the top rope, do some pretty athletic maneuvers. And I sound like I'm really like Walter's really, he's pretty good. No, he's fucking amazing too. I really do. It's so silly because we used to say the Tyler Bate Walter matches were the best we've ever seen, and I'm sitting here talking about Dragunov being one of the best in pro wrestling right now, and clearly the common denominator was Walter in those two matches. He might be, the best professional wrestler. He's got to. Can I say it's not really like a hot take? This is lukewarm, right? He's easily in the top 10 right now, or at least he should be.
Wait, Walter or Dragunov?
Oh, Walter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Walter's top 10. I still say Dragunov is highly rated, but probably the most underrated pro wrestler in professional wrestling right now. That tracks, right? That makes sense. But yeah, if I'm just putting that like review on it, and we got half K's on here, match of the year, no problem, easy peasy, greatest match of all time. Look, we need more time just to figure that out, right? If that
let's look at this isn't a hard question because I think it's immediately in that discussion. It's that good.
It can be. Yes.
Yeah. I think Walter, he's like an Andre the Giant. Like he's booked him, like he's created this persona for himself where he's like an Andre the Giant's like special attraction where Walter matches are must-see TV. And Dragunov, Matt, I was trying to find a fitting like comparison for who he is. And he's like if Darby Allin had Walter's moveset. He's that kind of like smaller stature guy, but he's still just as violent as Walter without the size, and then he still sells as hard as Darby does. Where you're like, my God, that guy looks like he went through like a 6-car pileup every time you hit him with something. But yeah, Ilya, we talk about like guys like Undertaker saying, I'm okay with like Brock Lesnar being my first loss at WrestleMania, like giving his blessing, and I gotta think. After that first punishment that Dragunov took against Walter, Walter said, this is the guy. This is the guy who's going to, finally give me my first loss. And Dragunov, I don't think anyone watched that and had that feeling like, yeah, they're probably going to take the belt off Walter. But then as you're watching it, you're like, my God, I think Dragunov is going to be the one to like scratch and grab and just kick his way to defeating him. And my God, did he earn it. He's going to have scars for life from that match. I've never seen chops where the guy is literally, it looked like he had like T'Challa's necklace just made out of red marks and exploded blood vessels going, literally circling him, his neck. And the way these guys were incorporating chops that I've never seen that strong, and I've never seen them on the backs of people's heads. Where I got a little nervous. I thought we were about to watch like American History X. Like it got pretty graphic. But these guys still managed to take care of each other. And even though it was violent, I never felt like it was like, oh my God, they're actually going to get legitimately hurt. It just looked like the strongest strong style match I've ever seen in my life.
And Half K coming in, that it's one of the best finishes we've seen in a while. Storytelling behind it, so amazing. It's funny. I thought you were going to come in with Killmonger and all the tattoos all over his body that he scars and tattoos he created is how I picture Dragunov's body looking going forward. I think I think your point has been made that I've been trying to come up with some matches. That first Undertaker Shawn Michaels match, I mean, that's still the one that I come back to and I can watch over and over, start to finish, no problem. There's the John Cena Shawn Michaels, which I think is underrated.
There's gonna be a lot of Shawn Michaels on that list, but yeah,
right, yeah. Walter Shawn Michaels is where it's at. But John Cena Shawn Michaels at Monday Night Raw in April of 2007 or 2008.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. They were in London. Those matches are the ones that I go back and watch all the time. And I mean, especially looking at that night for NXT, there's only one thing I'm going to be watching over and over. You can add in SummerSlam. Still only one thing I'll be watching over and over, including if it was just, am I going to rewatch those moments or am I going to rewatch this match? It's this match. I will sit down and watch this entire match over and over. This will be one I'm coming back to for years. I mean, like, if it's about the hot take, greatest match of all time in the conversation. Is it the greatest match of all time? No, I'm not prepared to say that. Let me say that. Can I say I'm not prepared to put that on there? Because we've had that conversation before when we're just talking about Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain in a tag match. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think the other common denominator is NXT and how sad I am that, look, I don't hate this logo, okay? I don't hate it at all. I think it's actually pretty snazzy. Some people are making fun of it online. What scares me is the rebranding, and that what we watched at NXT TakeOver 36 is going to be changing or going away in some fashion. And maybe that means Walter's coming to, the WWE, and they're going to make room for him, and he's going to be an attraction just like he is in NXT. But all of this changing I'm just scared because of change, and I'm scared that what I love so much and what is my favorite show week to week is getting a huge overhaul, as was rumored, that they're going to be going away from the Garganos and going a lot younger for NXT, and they really want to double down on this is development pro wrestling. This is not your I'm going to watch pro wrestling tonight, so the idea of what NXT was rumored to make a huge change. So I guess, Mike, I don't know how much else we can dive into that, but I'll just say I'm bumming right now that they came out with the new branding, because I feel like a big change is a coming.
God, I wanted to credit the person, but they said latest release by Nick Khan is the NXT logo. And like, what? It looks like they're definitely rebranding, putting the whole presentation of NXT through a washing machine, and that's a lot what this logo kind of reminds me of, is when you put all your colors in the washing machine. I'm kind of nervous for people like Tommaso Ciampa. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't know what they're going to do with Gargano. It sounds like they're just going to try and find a bunch of guys who are like 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds, and they're going to let the smaller wrestlers who can go, I don't know, maybe just go to AEW or Impact or something. If you and I continue to have this divorce discussion with WWE and, go full-time AEW, I'm not going to complain about seeing Tommaso Ciampa, battling MJF on Wednesday nights. That's not going to make me sad at all. So I think we'll be okay. But, TakeOver was, I just wanted to touch on that too. It was Walter and Dragunov. It's that match, was one of the greatest, I think, of all time. Karrion Kross and Joe was kind of surprising for me. One for Kross, he didn't come out in his Mad Max gear like he's wearing on Monday Night Raw. And Samoa Joe, he's going to be our champion. And then, Dakota Kai, I was kind of bummed she came up short. I think people were kind of bummed about Adam Cole probably losing his last NXT match to Kyle O'Reilly. I thought it was a fine match. I don't know what else you wanted. I don't know if they didn't like the submission finish, but without being the number one match on the card, I think it had enough time to tell its story. And I had a lot of fun with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. This is a feud I'm still not tired of. I would still like to watch those guys keep fighting, even though it seems like this storyline is finished. So, I had a pretty good time. And maybe that's just because I enjoyed Walter Dragunov so much. It was such an A+++, that everything around it was heightened because that match was so good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and going into the next episode of NXT, it still felt really NXT. So we wrap up NXT TakeOver 36. Samoa Joe's getting approached by Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, Ciampa, LA Knight, to have his next feud get going. So I guess right now I'm still a fan of what's going on in NXT. If we were doing our Festival of Friendship, I would have made the push that NXT was way better than Dynamite this week, as we used to play that game. But I guess for all the reasons that I said, big TV for Walter and Dragunov for TakeOver 36, and I was fine watching the rest of it on my phone. Definitely is fueled by the fact that I feel like these changes are coming, and I don't want to invest too much of my time in something that's just gonna get the Bianca Belair treatment and eventually will just completely disappear and go away. So there's my fears, there's my feelings, there's NXT.
Goodbye.
I did like, if this is it for NXT, I think Samoa Joe is certainly one to walk away from what NXT is now as the champion. I think he really embodies what it used to be. I think the only other guy that would make more sense is probably Johnny Gargano, if that was how they're going to wrap it all up. I know his story doesn't really push him in that direction.
This looks like Karrion, going to Raw full time, and Joe's going to be the transitionary champion for whichever 6'3", 250-pound former football player they find to start running NXT. So, sorry, Joe.
I was going to say, who would you bring to NXT to be the last women's champion?
Oh, gosh. At this point, for a veteran, that's where I would have pulled the trigger on Dakota Kai, and then she could have been there as, somebody who can actually go in the ring to help get the next young lass over. But I guess we're going to wait a little bit on that. They probably just want to keep Raquel down there to, do some more fine-tuning. So, probably not a great idea to call her up at this juncture, and then let her get some more matches under her belt against top challengers. So
I would have said Asuka.
Absolutely not. No, I'm not. No, I do not advocate for that. Her Instagram is too funny to send her to NXT.
Just for the end, just to wrap it up.
I don't know. I had a hot mic. I don't know if you heard my fart of disapproval, but
Plug. I think. Sorry, Pluggo. I missed the timing of this comment, but you have Bailey, but it won't last that long, or Shayna. So.
Not doing anything else with Shayna. I like the Shayna pick a lot.
Yeah, that is true. Mike, anything else you want to touch on? Do we want to do one round of the Festival of Friendship?
Nah, not an hour 11. We're good.
Let's wrap it up. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Pluggo, thanks for chatting. I missed you, buddy. It's been a while.
I know, man.
If anybody else wants to chat, find us at BOD Podcast on Twitter. We are at brothers_of_discussion on Instagram. And I shamed myself enough while wrapping up these episodes that I'm back on Instagram. If you're listening to the podcast, find us on YouTube as the Brothers of Discussion. And we also have our Twitch channel running. We played some, what's the Left 4 Dead sequel?
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood. So once that comes out, that's going to be full time. And then, of course, we're going to have our new WWE game coming out next year. And Matt is also a huge hockey fan, which that game should be coming out in a couple months.
Don't forget Dead by Daylight. We got Pinhead coming in from Hellraiser. I know Matt's real excited for that one.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight. Best game ever.
Woo!
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.